Okay, I think we're live, but let's double check. I always am paranoid that I'm speaking to myself. So I'm going to check in our places to make sure that we are live. If you're joining us live, you can type in the chat. I'm here. I'm here. I'm so excited to speak with my client, Marilyn, who is just winning left and right. Everything is going her way. All right, I see that we are live on Facebook. Very excited about
Hi.
that. And let me make sure, I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn, but we're just going to trust and have faith that live is happening right there on LinkedIn as well.
There
So,
you go.
hello, Marilyn.
Hey, Bridget.
How are you today? That's fine. What is it? July 5th, the 5th of
5th of
July. I'm
July. Yes, it is. The 5th of July already.
already. I know.
Yeah.
I was told by my mentor that a lot of people, including me, I am people, was
Mhm.
saying that June was the halfway mark of the year, and she said, "No, it's actually
Right,
July." So here we
right,
are,
right.
halfway through
Made it.
23rd.
Woo.
2023. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So if you're here with us live, type in the comments. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I am thrilled to be joined by Marilyn. We've been working together. How long have we been journeying together now?
This is 2 years, almost 3 years it'll be, Bridget.
What? Almost
Yeah.
3 years? Why do I feel like it's been 5? I don't know why. I feel like I've known you longer than just a
I
few
know.
years.
I
But
told you were my friend in my head even when I saw you doing training.
oh, I love it. And now and this is how visioning comes true. And then we met and for real in real life
Yep.
in person in February this year, which was actually a very pivotal moment for you, which we'll talk about in a moment because you set out a declaration. And if you don't even know already, Marilyn, the power of your word comes back
From my
multiplied.
mouth to God's ears. That's
Oh
it.
my gosh. And sometimes all we have to do is profess and confess and say out loud that which we desire. And we'll talk about that quite a bit because that is a huge
Mhm.
secret to success.
Yep.
And not only success, but success limitlessly. And that's what I'm all about. So if it's your first time listening to me live, I am Bridget Simmons. I am a coach, trainer, facilitator, speaker. I'm just a purveyor, not just, I am a purveyor of limitless potential because we get this one beautiful life and it is so short. And what I know for sure is that there are some of us who are specifically called to be leaders in this life and leaders in such a way that just being effortlessly ourselves, people feel themselves called up and out into their own version of leadership because we get to do it our own unique way. It doesn't have to be like anyone else's. And so through Limitless by Bridget, I connect with leaders and solopreneurs of all walks of life to unlock the absolute truth that you are limitless beings, that you can indeed achieve success defined by you, not by anyone else, because for such a long time, I defined success by other people's standards. I was checking boxes that I thought I was supposed to check, going to college, getting a degree, getting a job, and finding myself feeling so powerless, so constricted, so limited. And not able to really live in which there was something calling me in the inside saying, there's got to be more to life than this. And so I started knocking on that door and investing in people to support me in finding what that more was. And I've found it. And now I completely have dedicated my life to connecting with other leaders in this life to ensure that they don't feel stuck and limited because this life is so much more exquisite than most of us tend to live. So
Mhm.
today's Wednesday, the day of the week, but I love to affectionately call it Wednesday, where I highlight wins of my clients, like my client Marilyn Jacobs, who's my guest today. And I'm so excited to step through her journey. Though we've been journeying for almost 3 years together, this year specifically has been a huge
Amazing.
breakthrough.
Yeah.
Humongous. In fact,
Amazing.
not just humongous, 6 times humongous. So
Woo.
just, we're going to walk through it. We're going to journey through it. We're going to
Right.
get everything that Marilyn did and said and has walked through in order to experience the levels of success that have blown even her own mind this year.
Yeah. Right.
And here's what I know for sure to be true about life and to be true about success is that success leaves clues. Winning leaves clues. And if we pay attention to people that are experiencing wins and experiencing success on their terms, we get to take notes. So that's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you're listening to this live, if you're watching the replay, get a pen and paper, get your notes app open on your phone, and take note of the things that Marilyn says, or maybe even I say, that really stoke your spirit, that cause you to say, oh, aha, oh my God, I hadn't thought of it like that before. Because that is a huge moment of insight, and you are one insight away from a completely different life. When Marilyn and I had the conversation that we had back in February, little did she know that less than 60 days later, what was waiting for her in the realm of 6 times what she said she desired, just by saying she desired it. So get a pen and paper, get your phone notes app ready, get ready to take some notes. And I want to know in the comment section, what did you hear? What are you hearing that caused you to say, aha, that gave you a bit of an insight, that's leaving you a clue to how you can be successful, and maybe even a future feature on my Wednesday broadcast. All right. So today I'd like to welcome my very, very special and incredible and amazing guest, who is, and it's fascinating to me, Marilyn, because, and I know you know this to be true because you're also a coach and consultant, is that it's not a one directional relationship with our clients, that we often get just as much, if not more, guidance, clarity, insights, direction from those that we serve in the capacity of client than they do. And my dear Marilyn, you have inspired me so deeply and so much.
Thank you.
In so many different ways. One of the major ways in which you've inspired me, I remember we had a conversation a year or two ago, maybe, had to be almost 2 years now, where you asked about a retreat and you just dropped into my spirit. You said, in fact, if you were hosting a retreat, I would come. And you called out in me a fear that I had of failing at a retreat. And in your desire, again, this is a theme here. Marilyn speaks her desires, and her desires are met. In that, you called me up and out into making Limitless Experience happen, to a sold out retreat last year, to a sold out retreat this year, which actually I now have a couple spots. Some people can't make it. So I've opened up a couple spots. If you know anyone who would like to join us in September in Costa Rica, I've got a spot available. But you inspired that. And you inspired me also to speak the thing that I desire, and not to only hold it in my head, because not only can I achieve that desire and see it and meet it, but it could be multiplied and be bigger and wider than my wildest imagination. So please tell them who you are, Miss Marilyn Jacobs, besides the superwoman.
So I am Marilyn Hinton Jacobs, the solopreneur of Marilyn Hinton Jacobs Coaching and Consulting. And that's a very important thing to say at that point, because the coaching and consulting part was not where my focus was in January even. I was coaching, and I have been coaching. I work for 3 independent companies plus my own coaching company, and I love serving. My thought process around coaching is helping people uncover their what's next. What's next, not just in terms of short-term goals, but long-term goals. And sometimes I hear people say, what do you mean, what's next? Because, you're always kind of thinking a step ahead, but that might cause you to go in the wrong direction. It is a powerful thought process to think about what's next in terms of your passion fulfilling and unleashing the thing that all of us possess called creativity.
Talk a little bit more about passion fulfilling and creativity.
So I spent 25 plus years as a robot, I'll call it. But I was a happy robot because I got to work in an industry that I love with people that I really liked. I liked getting up in the morning and going to work, so I had no problem with it. But I'm a creative spirit. I sing, I am an artist, I am a musician, and I've always been that from childhood. But I let that passion for music, that passion for my creativity and for writing, I put it on the back burner for 40 some odd years.
Woo.
And it wasn't until Marilyn Hinton Jacobs, and coaching and consulting. And I joined, I started with IPEC as a student. And one of my coaching sessions with a peer coach was, what are some things under there that you really wanted to do you've never done? And we started on the creativity path. And I said, well, I have a book that I had written as a child and I never finished it. The drawings are even finished recently, but it's never completed. And from the moment I started focusing on that, I realized that I had a passion to write. I had a passion to be creative, meaning that there's something deep within me that if I'm not in that realm, I'm not happy. That's what brings me joy.
So let me ask you a question then. Since you stifled that creative, passionate part of you for 40 years.
I never want to see another human do that.
Right. So, and you just said that when what you realized when you brought it back to bear is that you weren't happy when you did it, when you weren't engaging in it. So were you not happy for 40 years?
Oh, I was superficially happy. Let's call it that. Superficially happy. I had a good career. I had a good marriage. I had my children. I had a happy life. But there was something in me that was yearning. And that yearning was for the creativity. And it came out every once in a while because I was still, performing, singing every once and here and there, weddings, things like that, church events. And it was getting deeper and deeper for me. So then that's when I realized when I'm in that realm of creativity and when it comes out, there's that's the ultimate at the end of it.
How incredible is that to know?
Yeah.
Is to know the source of your feeling happy and a sense of fulfillment is tied to your creativity. And and it pained my heart when you said that for 40 years you were superficially happy.
Yeah.
And that you had those things that tend to make people happy or that they think will make them feel happy, and a successful adult and well-adjusted adult and having the marriage and the children and having spurts and fits with your ability to be creative, but to now be in a space to know if I'm not happy, let me look at when's the last time I created.
Yep.
That's huge, 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 huge. Thank you for sharing that. Now, who do you work with your coaching and consulting primarily?
So my clients are a gamut. I've got 20-year-olds and I've got 65, 70-year-olds who come to me. And honestly, I thought I was only going to be working with those ready for retirement like myself or those retired and what's next. And I find that that middle spectrum between the ages of 30 and 45 want to know what's next just as much, even if it's in terms of careers, etc. Most of my clients are African American women in that bracket of between the age of 30 and say 45. And they are right where I was in the middle of, I'm happy, I'm doing it. I love my job even, but there's something that I need to figure out on my journey. If it's not today, then what's next?
What's next? That's such a big question for a lot of people. I can see why you're so successful with that, with those people, and realizing that what's next doesn't just only happen at the space where we typically are at retirement age. When we've achieved something, that space of achievement, whether it's a degree or some type of long held goal, usually what's next is the question that we may not even know we're asking, but we may feel a little uncomfortable or bored or whatever. So you supporting your clients with what's next is so critically beautiful. And I love that for you. So let's talk about, because I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate this 6 times. Like, I love multiplication, especially when multiplication has to do with the dollar bills, y'all. Okay. When we can multiply this, sometimes life is lovely. Not sometimes, life is always lovely. And that money is not everything. However, having more money, especially being an entrepreneur and a leader, and being able to unlock riches without burning ourselves out and without being too stressed, provides us a lot of options. And options is a very powerful place to lead from. And you did that. this year, you've done it before, but this year in particular, through our work together, has
Yeah.
really unlocked something huge. So take us to the beginning, though, before we talk about the big 6X. And then on top of that, before we went live, you told me that not only did your 6X happen within 60 days of us talking,
Mhm.
but your 6X's can ask you to stay, please,
My
to keep
6X's will
multiplying.
go into next year. Let's just put it that way.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. So remember, as I told you in the beginning, if you're just joining us, it's Wednesday. We're talking about Marilyn's big wins that she's had through our work journeying together. And success leaves clues. So if you're listening, write down what you hear in the space of an aha or an insight that you gathered in listening, because you're not here by accident. You're not listening to Marilyn, whether it's live or in a recording, by accident. Every single encounter that we have, especially when we're paying attention, gives us clues to what we need for what's next on our journey. So take us back to the beginning, Marilyn.
So I want to go
Where
back to
were you?
January, Bridget, when I got one of those 30 minutes with Bridget sessions because I paid attention last year. And those 30 minutes started in January with one question you asked me. What does your coaching package, what is your business package, what does it look like? And I kind of hemmed and hawed, and you're like, huh? I'm like, well, I have it. It's here. I have it written down. I know what it is. So like, you're supposed to be able, which is something you drill in all of us, rattle it off just like that.
Yes, you don't go inside the Apple store and you're like, what do you have for sale? And they're like, got a couple things. No, they know we got a MacBook, we got the cell phone. What do you have to offer the world? So I love that.
Yep. So that was number one. And I finally came up with that package. And then the next thing I know, clients started coming in, right? Even one that had been a client, and when I switched over and said, hey, listen, it's 2023, we've been working together for 2 years, my prices need to raise. Okay, was the response. And I was kind of like, whoa, okay. So I was on that trajectory of coaching, coaching, coaching. Then you came up to New Jersey and we sat down in the restaurant. And you were like, what's going on? What's happening? I'm like, Bridget, every morning I'm getting up and I'm starting to look in LinkedIn. You looked at me kind of like, what? I'm like, yeah, money's getting a little tighter. Coaching is coming. You know, retirement is wonderful, but it's kind of like I got a wedding coming up next year. My son is getting married halfway around the world. And I, got to figure a lot of things out. And you said, well, what's the number? I was like, whoa, what number would be something that would help you sustain where you're at? Now, honestly, I knew that number in my head. And I know that number in my head. I knew that number in my head only because, first of all, I lowballed it a whole lot. And only because during our lab sessions, you had asked us to figure that number out a long time ago. So I said, well, boom, here's the number. And I knew since January, I wasn't going to just go, I knew I had to give you a number. So I gave you a number. That was the first time I actually spoke it out loud, though. And you said, okay, how would you be able to do that? And I honestly, for the next couple of days, you said, come back to me, talk about it, figure it out. So I did. And I never got back to you yet. And then we had another conversation about my consulting side of the business. Because you were up in New Jersey looking for my skills, but didn't know that I possessed the skills that you were looking for. You were looking for a process improvement, continuous improvement belt. And I'm like, Bridget, I'm a master black belt. And you were like, what? And I'm just looking for this. And you've got, I'm like, yeah, but I don't focus on that side of the business. And you asked me a question. You said, why? And I couldn't answer you, really, with a good answer. Within 2 weeks of that, I started thinking, well, the consulting business is there. I have a few feelers out there. And all of a sudden, I got that phone call. How would you like to take on this consulting assignment? And I was like, yeah. Gave me all the information. Yeah. Would you be interested in? And he said, well, here's the amount. I said, heck yeah.
I want to pause right here in this moment before we dig into that. Heck
Mm,
yeah. Because there's a few things that you've shared with us that are hugely guiding in terms of success and success limitlessly if we're paying attention.
mm,
First and foremost, you mentioned having the 30-minute call with me one-on-one this earlier this year, which, by the way, how Marilyn got that was she's on my mailing list. So if you're not on my mailing list, go to limitlessbybridget.com, scroll all the way to the bottom and make sure you get on my list, because if you're on my list, you get access to me in ways that you don't
mm,
on social media.
mm-hmm.
So you had that drop in your inbox and you said yes to that. We
Yes.
had time together. And you actually joined a program of mine
Yes.
called Freedom Inc.
Most
You were
definitely.
already in my Limitless Lab. So we're in spaces, two spaces together. With Limitless Lab is my exclusive community for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to expand and create limitless success without the strain and stress of hustling. And then Freedom Inc. is a space to tap into purpose along with our passion and our success. So it's a deeper dive. So in that 30-minute call, I asked you about what your offers were. And that's when you said you didn't have clarity with that. And this is time one of two that this happened with you this year alone. You said, I got clear on my offers and the clients started coming. So,
Yes.
success clue one, if you're paying attention so far,
Mhm.
is not only joining with and investing in support for yourself so that you have a sounding board and
Right.
opportunities to talk through things that you need. Because Marilyn has invested in herself and in her business so she doesn't have to be stuck alone. A lot of times we're so intelligent and we think I can figure this out on my own. And yes, a lot of us can, but we go further faster when we're connected and plugged in and have invested in spaces where we can share when we're confused or be asked questions to unlock clarity.
Mhm.
So in that space, you got clarity on your offer for
Yes.
coaching because your business is coaching and consulting.
Yes.
You got offers, you got clear on your offers. You said clients started coming in and you were focusing on your coaching.
Yes.
And then you, so you put out loud, okay, I need my offers, got those. Then we met in February and we sat down to eat.
Yes.
And you said that you were like, I'm feeling a little sticky. My income's not where I need. I've got my son's wedding coming up. I'm feeling uncomfortable. And I remember I asked you specifically, I said,
Yes.
tell me what number would make you feel comfortable.
Yes, you
Because
did.
here's the thing that holds a lot of us back and limits us
Mm-hmm.
from receiving or even seeing opportunities that might be available to us or even inviting them in is not sharing what we need. Sometimes we're so focused on the problem and focused on the problem and crunching our numbers and looking in our bank account and oh my God, oh my God, it's not what I need. Just that question shifted your focus to what do you need to feel comfortable? I think that's exactly what I asked you.
Yes, you did.
What number would make you feel comfortable? Now,
Yes.
are you comfortable in this moment sharing the range or what that was? If
So
not, it's
yeah,
okay.
so it was, it was around $5,000 a month would have
Okay.
made me comfortable.
Yeah, so you're like, "You know what? Right now I'm freaking out. I'm fine, but I'm freaking out."
Yeah.
And if I had a little bit more, if I had 5,000 more monthly,
Yes.
I would feel a little bit I would feel a lot safer.
Yes.
And we all need that, right? Because
Mhm.
we live in a world where we need money to operate and have the things that we enjoy like home and electricity and internet, among other things, right?
Right. Mhm.
And so it's natural and it's so very normal to feel like freaked out if the money isn't looking like it needs to look for you in this moment. It happens with every single business owner and entrepreneur.
Yep.
That if money is okay, but it's not looking like the future needs to, we can freak out. Having support, having community, having a coach, having a guide, having a mentor to help you to focus
Mhm.
on, well, let's see what you do need so that we now can create creative ways to make it happen for us. It takes us out of the freak out.
Yes.
It's what my
Definitely.
mentor calls facts over feelings. Okay.
Yeah.
Your feelings
Yeah.
were,
Yeah.
what are the facts? The facts are, I could use $5,000 more monthly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So with that type of clarity, that's the next success clue that you just left us is you said what I needed. I
Mhm.
took my focus off of the freak out and I got clear on what I needed. And then the other thing you did is you said it out loud. You said I had it in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. And here is a lesson for you and all of us in the power of vibrations. Our vocal cords, when we speak, speaking is such a gift, such a pleasure that we so take half-heartedly. And we don't take as seriously as we could, and we don't pay enough attention to. When we speak, we're creating vibrations. Everything is vibrations. Everything in this life is a active, moving, vibratory thing. Our thoughts are actively moving, vibratory things. Our vocal cords, the words that we speak, that's why we don't say things. In fact, I was chatting with a friend this morning who had a mishap happen, and she said this term that tends to get thrown around, which is F my life. And I said, don't say that.
Yeah.
I know you're joking, but you're casting a spell. You're saying a prayer. You're making a request. And when we half-heartedly speak things without thought, without intention, without meaning, then we get what we get. And sometimes we get nothing, especially if we don't speak up. And Marilyn, when you were in a spot where you weren't speaking up about what you did need, and almost immediately when you spoke what you needed, you said 5,000 a month. I need a little bit more. Tell us what happened next.
As Bridget likes to say, when you do the math, it comes to 6 times per month more.
Let me get my calculator out. Let me get my kick. 6 times 5,000 is $30,000. Like, this is the power of life. I believe in a force greater than us, and I call that force God. And what I feel like we are doing when we operate in this world with that force I call God is that there's a role that we play. There's a part that we do in the dance with God. And oftentimes we don't do our part, which is really minuscule in comparison. Because all Marilyn had to do was put her request, made her request be known in her cries. So when we experience discomfort or fear, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be abnormal. It's when we decide to focus and stay and lament and complain and make it bigger and wider and expand it. But what Marilyn did in that moment is she not only was vulnerable enough to share, because you didn't have to share with me that day that you felt that the number that's a very vulnerable share. Not a lot of people, and for whatever reason, it's become it's a thing in culture to not talk about money. And that's also a beautiful thing about having a container and a community and a coach and a support that you invest in, is that you have confidential spaces where you can share these things. So I'm even more grateful, Marilyn, that you said yes to sharing this on a public stage.
Yeah.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. So you said that 6 times 5. Y'all get your own calculators out and do the math on that.
It's
so
a ballpark. We're doing a ballpark.
Yes, ballparks. But the dance that Marilyn has done, and that I do, and that I help my clients to realize that we do, and we dance with this force that takes care of us if we allow it, is we make our requests known, and we're willing to be open to receive. And we're also grateful for what we already have. Gratitude is an amazing channeler and an open channel of receiving even more. And I know, Marilyn, you're a very faithful, gratitude-filled woman, period. That's the basis of who you are. Very giving, big-hearted. Adding to that, this is what I desire. This is what I need. Welcomed in this phone call of 6 times what you asked for, 6 times what you said you needed to allow some discomfort and this ease that you're experiencing in your business. Congratulations! I actually missed a success clue before this that you did that was humongous. You said, so your business name is Marilyn Hinton Jacobs Coaching and Consulting.
Oh, yeah.
And you were coaching at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
And that was not necessarily producing what you needed. You've got far more experience in the consulting realm.
Exactly.
But for multiple reasons, you were kind of shying away from it. And oftentimes we do that, right? When we've been there, done that, and we feel like it's old news, or I don't want to go back there because you're retired.
Right.
But you weren't claiming that, which didn't let people like me or other opportunities know what you actually could do in your sleep.
Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
consulting.
Yep.
And so in our conversation, you brought to bear who you truly are. So that's a success clue. I don't know what count we're on now. Number 3, own who you are, own your power that you already have. What are you so supremely good at, entrepreneur? What are you stellar at, leader, that you just forget, that's in the background, that you're like, oh yeah, that thing,
Mhm.
because that's what you get paid the most for. And Marilyn, you're evidence of that. The moment that you reclaim that, yes, I do consulting, and yes, I have this
Mhm.
certification that is among the top in the world, I didn't know. And you had me out there looking for people, and you're right under my nose. How many times
Yeah.
do we do that? Do we not share who we are, what our capabilities are, what we have to offer the world? And especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're a leader and you're not consistently in conversation or even on social media sharing what you have to offer the world, then we
You
leave this gap between what we have to offer and what we'd like to receive in the form of money.
You know what's so funny about it when you say that? You looked at me and you said, "Is that in your LinkedIn profile?" And you sat right there and you went to my LinkedIn profile.
I did.
And I was like, "Yeah, Bridget, it's there." She's like, "But where? I don't see it. It's not, it doesn't stand out. Make it stand out." And I'm like, "You're so right, Bridget. I never even, yeah.
Yeah,
This is that moment."
our success, your success, my success is hiding in plain sight. And when we claim who we are and what we are the authority of and in,
Hmm.
we leave ourselves available for opportunities to the tune of 6 times what we say we want.
Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I want to share a quick commercial break for a moment of an
Mhm.
offer that I have that's ending this evening at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. If you're listening to this and watching us, I have created a 60-day boot camp called Limitless Business Breakthrough Boot Camp, where we will explore exactly what Marilyn and I did through 2 full months together, journeying in a small group at a fraction of what it costs to work with me one-on-one. We will explore the 6 core components of a limitlessly successful business, because what I found is that most entrepreneurs, most solopreneurs are doing a lot of work, doing a lot of this. Days are busy, calendars are packed, and they tend to hover around the same level of success, hitting a plateau, and really needing to break through and really wanting to grow, really wanting more income, more clients, more impact. But they're asking themselves, how? Where? I don't have any more room in my calendar. I don't have any more capacity of my energy, and my family and loved ones and other loved activities in my life are already taking a back seat. I can't. So in this 60-day boot camp, we are journeying together where you will get super duper clear on the 6 core components of your business. I will put the link in the comment section for you to click and get more information. Join today. It starts at only $39.97. There are payment plans available. Make this doable and make this next half of your year where you could 6 times, 10 times, 20 times whatever your income was in the beginning of the year in a shorter time frame and working far less than you have at the beginning of the year. Because my goal is to support all solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, leaders to experience the impact, the income, and the level of fulfillment in working in your business powerfully, not with a whole bunch of hustle and strain. That was for like decades ago. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. So talk to us a little bit more, Marilyn, about what happened after this call and what's been going on for you.
So I am now on the road, which is something that I spent my entire career doing. And you know what? I don't mind being on the road. There's a lot of perks to being on the road. So I'm now in North Carolina, where I will be for some time to come. And um, what I realized is that for me, um, it's given me a different perspective on what retirement is really like.
Oh, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I kind of like North Carolina also, hint hint, on the maybe this is where I need to move to instead of living in New Jersey for the rest of my life. But it also, like, I'm meeting other consultants who have been doing this into their retirement for years, and just like even thinking about, well, there's a third party involved? Does there need to be a third party involved in what I'm doing? And do I branch out even further and think even bigger on a larger scale? Yeah. And so
Oh, so
that looks like
it's
24 is going to start to create.
wow. So it sounds like it's expanded not only your network and the
Mhm.
people that you're meeting, but you, from what I heard, and you can correct me if I'm off with this, it sounds like you
Mhm.
had one way of looking at what retirement was and what it was supposed to look like and feel like. And you're experiencing something completely different. I'm judging by the smile on your face.
Yeah, so there's one thing about retirement for me that I don't believe in the whole, out to pasture kind of thought process when someone retires, because there's a lot of experience, a lot of wit, a lot of wisdom, that
Amen.
it is still there, and somehow that needs to still be vibrant, alive. It's one of the there's a book I read. It's called "I'm Not Done Yet."
Mm,
And the principle, I forgot the lady's name that wrote the book, but the principle is that when you get to a certain age in business, people feel like, even if you're working for yourself, you should be just sitting home and doing nothing. And but what happens to everything that's in here as a
right.
result of that? What happens to all of that you've done? So I'm thinking about, one of the things, Bridget, that I kind of combine all my businesses together, and I have journals that I created, and
Yes.
some writing, and some other stuff that I have done, and authoring some children's books even. Um, but I'm thinking about my next journal, really, and I think it has to do with something about that, finding it, your retirement, whatever that is.
Mm.
Maybe I'll just call it "Finding Your Retirement." Hey, I kind of like
I
that.
love that. Oh, look at that. Just inspired in the moment. You heard it here first.
That came right in the
Oh,
moment.
wow. That's
I'm writing
powerful.
it
And
down.
you've professed it with your words. So it's already done. And so you were going to support so many people in that because there's so much in our society around aging
Mhm.
that is so completely erroneous that we, younger people than us, could shorten their frustration and depression and feeling so lost and alone and confused if we not only tapped into the wisdom of our elders, but
Mhm.
also to me, it's that dance that I talked about between God and us, that the elders have to do their part as well and not shrink into a sense of thinking, I'm too old. Who's going to listen to me? I'm
Exactly.
not good enough. My experience is unique. It's not. There's such a joy in you being able to express to someone that's been married before, that's experienced loss before, that's experienced motherhood before. And I feel like that's why you attract that age range of the 30 to 40, 50-year olds, though you thought you were going to serve retirees like yourself, is that your mission and what gets to feel fulfilling for you is to say, oh, honey, I've seen that. Let me tell you how it is. That gives us so much ease and peace
Yeah.
coming from you. So I love that you're redesigning and leading the way on, and we heard it here first, what's
Yeah,
next
yeah,
after
yeah.
retirement.
That's just straight out of
Yes, this
there.
is the power of creation.
What's next? I just heard wisdom of the elders. I'm writing it all down.
Yes, yes, I love it. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it come together, and the fact that you're so creative in your writing and that makes you happy,
Yeah.
it's no doubt going to be exquisite. We had a question in the comments from Wendy Carter. She said she'd love to know the how about how Marilyn's clients started coming in.
Hmm.
So we know you declared a
Oh,
thing and you
okay.
started to take ownership of your who you be in the consulting realm.
Mhm.
But what could you give us a little bit more around how the client started rolling on in and your phone started ringing?
So, hi, Wendy. Anyway, but what I did was real simple. I went back to that social media where I had kind of sporadically started looking at, and I started what I call hearts and minds, because on Tuesdays I would give some wisdom, and on Thursdays I spoke from the heart.
Hmm.
And I did that for a few weeks, and then when I Another tip from Bridget, y'all. Started seeing who was actually focusing on my comments and who was always right there, the first and the second people that were like clicking that like button. And I started DMing them. And from that, I started having conversations because I do put out a 30-minute let's talk, and I'm going to coach. And a lot of those 30 minutes, I'm just going to coach. I'm going to serve you for free, complimentary, lead to another call, which is that same thing. And then there's my final thing, which is let's work together. Let's see how we can work together. But the one thing to answer that question is persistence.
And I'd add commitment. I love that. Oh, such a great answer. That's right. That right there is worth $1 million. Is that Marilyn started with, it sounds like you started with what you know and your heart and your wisdom. And you would share that. And that you said it lightly, but I really want to focus on it because this is a huge clue of success. You were sporadic with when you showed up.
Yeah.
She shifted from how she got these clients. Okay, so that's the question that we're answering is she declared what she wanted in terms of her goals for clients in her business, and how she got her clients was she started showing up consistently. And with social media these days, it is way too easy to get business. You try to do business in the 1980s, okay, when you had to have the yellow pages and go knock on doors physically, okay? Yes. Okay. I love it. Wendy said, thank you. I did see you show up on LinkedIn consistently. I love your posts. That's it. We leaders, we business owners, we entrepreneurs, we have to show up consistently. Then the next thing it sounds like Marilyn did was pay attention to who's watching when you show up. Because if you start showing up consistently, you're going to start to see people consistently watching you too.
Exactly.
Yes, you. And when you see people consistently showing up watching you, then you be in leadership and not be weird, not think that it's crazy, but this is called leadership, okay? If they're already watching you, you know that they're interested in what you've got to say, or they're at least connecting and jiving to what you have to say. It's as though, picture we're on a corner talking, and we're like, this is what I believe about life. And then people start to gather. And you don't want to just ignore the people that start to gather. You say something like, hey, what's resonating with you? And that's what Marilyn did. She slid into the DMs. And then there you have it. And she has an offer behind that. This is something that we clarify in Limitless Lab. We also clarify this in Business Breakthrough Bootcamp, which the link is in the comments. When you're clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it, and when you connect with people, what you do with people after you connect with people, business is easy. It's so super easy. And this is everything that I teach in my community and in my world. Yeah. So Marilyn, I want to talk about one last thing, because I know this part tends to get challenging for some people, is especially when you've not yet done it, or you've only done it to the tune of like books from Amazon for $19.99. Investing in yourself and investing in your personal growth, investing in a coach, a community, something, it can feel edgy. I have been there. You see my post that's pinned to the top of my Facebook. I invested $30,000. It sounds crazy as hell. But guess what I've learned in those investments is that money is energy, and it's elevated me, and I've re-earned that back in multiples as well. It's scary. It's supposed to feel edgy. And no, you don't have to invest $30,000. However, talk to us, Marilyn, about making an investment, especially when you don't necessarily have the money, and I don't encourage anybody to go into debt or make themselves uncomfortable. Let me be clear. However, I've been in a space where there's a pull in your spirit where this person, this offer will solve the problem I have. And you feel so called and so compelled to make it happen. Talk to us about how
I'm going to talk about that, because I was not an investor in self. I invested everybody else except for myself. And last year, through an email that Bridget pushed along, because the Lab Live, to me, the Lab Live is just a go. I don't even look for that. I know what I need to do, and I'm in there because it has helped me so much. And that was an investment that at the time I did it, it was like, well, yeah, that's, you know what? I'm just going in. I'm going into Bridget's Lab, and I got so much return immediately on that. But the Freedom Inc. I want to talk about just a little bit because Bridget gave me that number and I went, am I going to invest in myself? And I'm like, can we get a budget plan? Can we do this? Can we help? Because, and it wasn't that I couldn't do it. It's just that I wasn't used to it. I was not used to investing in myself in that bracket even. So I did it, me and my credit card, and I'm not going to, I have to tell it that way because that was part of my, how much do you need back? And here's why. And that is like, that's out the way. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, hey.
But the benefit that I am getting from being in Freedom Inc., the relationship building, and especially understanding purpose, but even more importantly, is understanding money. The money situation is coming out, and we've been having discussions, and I won't go into a whole lot. I won't give it all away, but I will say that within the first 2 months of Freedom Inc., the return on my investment is already like it hit already. I'm good. I'm good.
I love it. I love it. Listen, I love that you shared that because it's my story too. I remember investing, and just so you know, I have not publicly shared what Freedom Inc. is. What Marilyn's talking about, it will be public starting this fall. Freedom Inc. is a very incredible container for leaders of all walks of life who have achieved a level of success, and that there's something here inside that is still aching for purpose and meaning as they still ascend to the next level of success for themselves. And Marilyn is part of the beta version of this program called Freedom Inc. It's called Freedom Inc. because we believe it's everyone's business to be free. And I'm partnering with my dear sister friend and hypnotherapist, Adriana Foster, and her and I together host Freedom Inc. And I love that you shared that, Marilyn, because this investment for Freedom Inc. is a 5-figure investment. It's not easy to make that level of investment for me even. And I have done what you've done too, which is use the credit card, and I'm very financially responsible. I pride myself on a 700 plus credit score, and you're not going to mess that up. I pride myself on being very, very a good steward of my money. And yet there are times I, like you, Marilyn, have said, I need this. This is speaking to my soul and my spirit and my current space of being challenged in my life or my business. Here's my credit card. And there's a certain level of faith that happens when you do that. And the thing about what you did, Marilyn, when you made that investment, and then within 60 days, to have had it like, oh, that's like, there's an energy that comes with, oh, should I be doing this? But I feel like I should. Yes, I'm doing it. You make that decision, and then provision comes in. And what I know, and I'm sure you can agree with me, Marilyn, we can't predict. We can't pre-plan, and we cannot be in control of that level of divine care for.
It has nothing to do with me. It is out of my realm of ability to take care of. Because I had no idea how I was going to figure that out. But I put it in the bucket of I need to invest in myself in order for me to really fully be able to serve. That's it.
I need to invest in myself in order to really fully be able to serve. That needs to be in a fortune cookie. That is it. And the thing is, you know when it's time. There's a certain feeling, I can't describe it, but it's time. And it still doesn't take away the very human feeling of, I don't have the cash for this, or I don't want to put my cash toward this. Let me put it on a credit card. And then that part is your part. After that happens, after that decision, decision means to cut off all other possibilities. I've decided, provision comes in, and then that investment has been taken care of multiple times over. How incredible is that? I love it. What would you say to someone who may be listening and following and really feeling that want to elevate, to make more money in their business, to grow personally, but they're just feeling unsure?
The first thought that came to my head was that Nike symbol. Just do it. It really is. It really is. It's like, um, and if you're a process person like me and you really need step by step by step by step, if you're not dealing with Bridget, I'm sorry, you're not going to get step by step by step, because she gives you, it's laid out step by step. And if you follow that step by step, and so it doesn't mean you have to do it like rush and just zoom zoom, but when because I fell off the wagon a couple of times and didn't follow step by step, like set up that whole thing I was talking about earlier about here's my package.
Yeah.
And once you do that, if you're process focused, I really, encourage you to check out Limitless Business Breakthrough Bootcamp and other things, because um, it really is just to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. I agree. Especially, I tend to attract people like me as well who are creatives and just, and we creatives, in order to be limitlessly successful, have to have structure.
Mhm.
We have to have community
Yeah.
and support and stay connected in that way. So before we close out, Marilyn, please tell everyone how they can get in touch with you, what they can, because I know after listening to you, they're like, I want more of this woman, whether you're ready to retire, whether you're ready for what's next in any phase and stage
Sure.
of your life.
Yep.
What you got going on, and how can
Well,
they believe you?
you can reach me at Marilyn Hinton Jacobs Coaching and Consulting.com. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Marilyn Jacobs. And I think it says Marilyn Hinton Jacobs, but you can find me on LinkedIn, and then you could also find me on Instagram under Marilyn Hinton Jacobs Coach. Facebook, I'm everywhere, social media. Even though on my LinkedIn profile, the last thing I posted was I'm taking a little break. I'm about to come back. Don't worry, I'm coming back. I am on my way back, strong.
Good for you. I
For
love
my
it.
heart and head, and head post, they're coming.
I love your head and heart posts. They always reach my heart and really inspire me greatly. And I just thank you so much, Marilyn, for
Thank you, Bridget.
who you are. I thank you for saying yes to yourself.
Yeah.
I thank you for saying yes to what I've offered into the world, because you've allowed me to help me believe in me and the little dreams I have and passions that I have, and my ability to be creative as well. So thank you for sharing your journey
Thank you.
and your 6X success by just professing it out loud.
Yeah.
And I wish you so much more joy,
Thank you, Bridget.
success,
Thank you.
love, and safe travels. And
Thank you. All
I'll
right.
talk to you soon.
Okay. Talk soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.